So I got this theory that we as black people are under this like crazy hypnosis, and we've been under hypnosis since 1970. This hypnosis is from programming, through TV, through movies, through music, things of that nature, right? Notice how in the 1960s, right, we were pro-black, we were fighting against any social injustices, we were fighting against systemic oppression, we were fighting for our rights. We took pride in families. We were together. We had esteem of ourselves. We knew who we were at this time. It was a civil rights movement, right? We had no black shows, no black movies to where it was like a full black cast or anything like that, except for like a Raisin in the Sun, which was depressing. The only other shows that we had in the 60s, which weren't fully black cast, was a show named Julia about a single black mom who was widowed. Her husband was gunned down in Vietnam, and she was raising a black boy into being a man. She was a nurse working for a company, working for a place. Then the next one was a show called The Bill Cosby Show, but not the one with Claire Huxtable and Rudy or nothing, but it was him being a gym teacher, and he was like a bachelor. I feel like these were tester shows, but they really didn't connect with the black community like that because Bill Cosby was more so washed, and the show Julia was washed. It wasn't connecting with our people, so we wasn't really into those shows. We were still into the movement at that time. It was another show that came out in like the 1950s, and in 1951 it was called The Amos and Andy Show. It first was a radio show that was on from 1928 to 1960. It lasted 32 years on the radio, but it was two Caucasian guys cosplaying two men that were from Harlem and Chicago. But they depicted us as stupid, ignorant, and stuff like that on that radio show. But then in 1951, they created the actual show, TV show, because in the 20s the television came out, but up until 1950 only 9% of households had a television in their house. But then after 1950 to 1960 it boomed to 90%. So they knew that it was going to boom, so they created that show. But it only lasted for 2 years because the people who had a TV was people mostly. It wasn't really us. So they damn sure wasn't trying to see no Negroes on TV. So we still weren't fully entertained like that during this time. Because like I said, Bill Cosby Show came out, but he wasn't the top comedian for the black community. It was Red Fox. It was Richard Pryor at that time. Notice how in the 1960s, during this whole time, from 1961, Patrice Lumumba was offed. 1965, Malcolm X was assassinated. 1968, it was MLK. It was Bobby Hutton, Bobby Seale, and Huey Newton, the co-founders of the Black Panther organization. They were thrown in jail in 1968 for false accusations. Huey P. Newton, it was for manslaughter charge, but he wound up beating it because it didn't stick. Then for Bobby Seale, it was him protesting against the Vietnam War. And then while he was in jail, they tried to stick a conspiracy charge on him, but it didn't stick. And he was in there, I believe, until the 70s or something. On December 4th, 1969, Fred Hampton was offed. Crazy enough, that same date, December 4th, 1969, was the same day that Jay-Z was born. But clearly, the black community during that time had to have been in an uproar. They took away our leaders, they assassinated them, and then they left us with nothing, right? And they kept with the systemic oppression, the racism, the hate. After that came 1970. Then 1971 was when the entertainment started coming, with Soul Train. So all our favorite artists are now going to be seen on this show. Michael Jackson, the Supremes, Marvin Gaye, the Temptations, all of these people are now showcased to us. And we got to wait for it to come out every week. I believe it was probably every week. And then we got to glue ourselves to the TV to watch it. So there was no more organizing. There was no more getting together. We were more so talking about this Soul Train line and stuff. And we seeing this cool guy on TV named Don Cornelius or something like that. And he's hosting it. It's like, oh man, we got our own show now. That's what's up. This is back in the 70s. Times were slower then, right? There were no streaming apps. There was no VCRs. There was no DVDs. There was nothing like that. You had to wait for the show to come out. So I looked up all the other shows and the movies that came out during that time. So now these were the ones that I just wrote down, but when I researched it, it was hundreds of movies that came out during that time. Once again, there was no VCR, no streaming site, so it wasn't like they would put movies out on Tubi. These were in the movie theaters, so where people had to go to them, spend 2-3 hours in the movie theaters, and then they were going to see the movie again back to back. That was what was going on during that time. 1971, Shaft came out. That same year, Soul Train came out. 1972, Superfly, Trick Baby, Blackula, Sanford and Son came out. 1973, The Mac, Cleopatra Jones, Black Caesar, Coffee, Shaft in Africa. 1974, Foxy Brown, Claudine, Willie Dynamite. Good Times came out that same year. 1975, Cornbread Earl and Me, Cooley High, Dolomite. 1976, Car Wash, What's Happening. 1977, Roots. Now they had to throw something in there to remind us and to make us believe that we came from Africa and make us feel less than. So they gave us Roots in 1977. Then in 1978 was The Wiz. So in 1974 was this movie called Black Samson that came out. All of these were like big movies for the black community. I just listed about 20 movies and about 6 shows that came out all within that 1 decade after all of our leaders were assassinated. The majority of the movies that I listed were about imps, put a P in front of it, about rug dealers, about prostitutes, put a P in front of it, about us doing a bunch of debauchery and dumb stuff in the movie. To influence, I got to mention in 1972, Fat Albert came out for the kids. Around the same time, the Vietnam War was still going on. It was from 1955 to 1975. So when that flood of movies came in, up to 1975, when that flood of movies came in, you had a bunch of dads of the household leaders who were going fighting in the war, while the mom was single back home. They were sending her money back home and stuff, but she was raising the kids and they were going to the movies she was keeping them entertained, right? And this is what the little kids were seeing growing up, right? Also, vets that were coming back, they were on that H stuff, that black stuff, putting it in their arm, not all of them, but then they came back to be influenced and see like, whoa, we got movies now? Once again, it went from the 60s to the 70s. Whoa, we got movies now? We the main characters? We got a whole black cast? We got these shows? What is this Good Times? What is this Sanford and Son? What is this Soul Train? All of that stuff came about, right? That was the hypnotism. It doesn't take a doctor holding the clock on the string saying, you're getting sleepy. You're getting sleepy, now click like a chicken. It doesn't require that. All it takes is programming. And if you constantly put stuff in people's face, they're automatically going to start doing those things or portraying those things or reenacting those things. This is what's going to happen, especially if you're doing it and feeding it to little kids. Little kids are in the room too, because it's one TV in the house. It was the 70s. So they're seeing this stuff and now they're going to portray this stuff. The same thing is still going on today. We're being influenced by this stuff. Little kids are being tricked out of their lives through the music today. Just like we were tricked out of our freedom through the dope boy era. Even when they hire black directors, just think about all the shows or movies that these black directors that came out with. And I love them all, but we had John Singleton, we have Ryan Coogler, great movies. We have Issa Rae, great shows. I love Issa. You have Lena Waithe. Like, bro, like the shows that come out, like The Shy, what's involved in The Shy, Insecure, Issa sleeping with a lot of different dudes. You got John Singleton, all hood movies. Ryan Coogler having to have the white dude save the day in Black Panther. Added to that list of writers and directors is of course, Tyler Perry. And him having Taraji P portray this distraught black woman in every film. Even with Issa Rae, you don't think Issa Rae could have came out with something better than One of Them Days? Like, she pitched the idea to the people who are in control of the entertainment industry. And she said, hey, I have a movie about 2 black girls. They're about to own their first house and they're about to put in the money with each other. They both have great jobs. They have great husbands or boyfriends. Issa, I don't think that sounds good. You have anything else? Well, I don't know. You know how Issa Rae act. I have this movie about 2 black girls staying in the projects and they're just trying to pay the next month's rent. And they go through a bunch of stuff. And one of the girls has a boyfriend and he only likes to buy Air Jordans, so he can't help them because he's staying with them, but he doesn't have the money. And they get chased around by this bully that's a girl. And then she catches up with him, the bully. And then she beats both of them up and she twerks on them. That's it. Issa, you're a genius. That's it, Issa. That's the movie. Hey, where's my checkbook? $20 million. Here you go, Issa. There you go. We're going to promote this movie. We're going to market it. And you're going to sell this movie out. It's going to be the top in the box office. I can promise you that. Mwah, you're a genius. The rap music, we're the only ones that shit on our own women. We're the only ones that talk about all this foolishness in our music, spending money on dumb stuff, like selling rugs to each other, doing rugs. Even it goes to the R&B music too, because if I listen to Taylor Swift, she's singing about all of these beautiful things. But then when I go and I listen to Jasmine Sullivan, who has a beautiful voice, she's talking about busting the windows out of my car. Like, the frequencies are different from when it comes to Taylor to when it comes to Jasmine. It's like, but Jasmine has to put it out because she has to give all her music to the A&R. And they're only going to okay certain songs. They're in control of everything, and it's putting us under hypnosis. And we don't see it. Once again, it doesn't take a hypnotist to swing a clock in front of your face that's on a string and say, you're getting sleepy. Now cluck like a chicken and bark like a dog. It doesn't require that. All it requires is programming, streaming apps, streaming series, movies, music. That's all it requires. And if you constantly put this stuff and drill this stuff into people's brain, they're going to think like this. Look at the Caucasian shows. Look at our shows. Come on now. Look at 50 Cent with All Power, BMF, Ghost. Come on, man.